Hello everybody and welcome back to the F1 My Team Career Mode with me, Dan, and of course the Radiant Racing team as we get on to the Ferrari fan favourite. It is of course Monza for round 11, a track which is pretty much never going to be removed from this calendar. I think it's much like a few of the others that are featuring over the course of the 3 seasons that we're doing for this My Team career. This one is one of the staples that I will never even consider swapping out. Even if it's replaced by Imola, I think it does have a spot on the calendar. Anyway, super hyped up for this race because this was the first one that I actually did with my, or created the grid order with my new automation, which has just made the video editing side a lot easier. So to encourage me to keep making more videos at rapid pace, don't forget to like this video, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell as we see that Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas line up on the front row yet again for the Italian Grand Prix, followed by Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen. A lot of the fastest cars going 2x2 here until we reach Daniel Ricciardo and Charles Leclerc lining up together on the third row. Then we have Zhou Guanyu out-qualifying his teammate once again alongside Yuki Tsunoda. Then Sebastian Vettel and Esteban Ocon round out the top 10 for this race. Further down the order, we have Lance Stroll. He lines up alongside Lando Norris, who takes himself a grid penalty, followed by Radiant Slothz in P13 alongside his new rival, Pierre Gasly. Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz, the 2 Spaniards, line up on P15 and 16, followed by George Russell and Mick Schumacher. Moving on to the final 4 spots, we have Antonio Giovinazzi and Nicholas Latifi rounding out the top 20, followed by Christian Lundgaard and Nikita Mazepin. Well, I'm going to try to stop talking about myself in the third person for this race and to see how it goes, because it is a little bit jarring having done it for the past God knows how many videos that we've put up on the channel. But anyway, it's a good start from our teammate Zhou Guanyu. He's actually up a position over Sebastian Vettel already, I believe. I think it was Esteban Ocon, Sebastian Vettel, who started ahead of him. Either way, as they come down into turn 1, no contact at all for us back in P13, but we're now being pursued by Mick Schumacher, who is on the tail of us, coming down towards the second chicane to Les Moses. We go up the inside of Lance Stroll there, taking a position away from the Aston Martin. Next up on the list of people to overtake, it is, of course, Esteban Ocon. There's Lando Norris. He's broken his way into the top 10. And Sebastian Vettel still doing quite well at the moment. Full disclosure, by the way, before we get too deep into this race, I actually did start, this is the first race I did with the SF1000 Thrustmaster Ferrari replica racing wheel thing, and just to increase my immersion decided to turn off the DRS assist, which I had on before just because I was lazy, but now I've got it on just to be a little bit more authentic. The problem is I turned it on, then went to sleep, came back to this game after a day to record this video and forgot that I turned off the assist. So you may notice me not using the DRS. It's not a technical issue on the car, it is just me being a pillock. But either way, Max Verstappen comes into the pit lane after lap 1 with some contact. We'll see that in a second. This is me driving away. There's Lando Norris on our right hand side, so actually he favoured much better on the inside of the circuit. And as we come down towards turn 1, we've got Lance Stroll pushing across, puts us on the grass. We nearly rear end Esteban Ocon ahead of us. And there goes Norris up 2 positions at the first 2 corners. And then in the mirror, you can see Mick Schumacher weaving around. This was Zhou Guanyu. Gets a good start over the Ferrari, which is not what they wanted to see here. That's Charles Leclerc. And then it looks as though it goes free and a bit wide into turn 1. Mercedes getting clipped on the curb there. I think Verstappen's the Red Bull in the sandwich up ahead. And whichever Mercedes driver was on the left-hand side there hits the curb and just slides off into the side of the Red Bull, potentially the cause of damage there. But we'll rejoin ourselves, me, on lap 11, position 11, lap 3, as we're now pursued by Pierre Gasly, who, as mentioned in the title of the last video, is starting to become a bit of a pain in the neck. He seems to, well, he's fast enough anyway. He's usually up in the top 10, getting through to Q3 and knocking our teammate out. And at the moment, in the latest videos, he has been hot on our tail and causing us some problems, partially because I'm an idiot and haven't had DRS in this race and the last race because of technical difficulties with the ERS system breaking, followed by the DRS system breaking, and then having to try and claw back time and increase my gap to an AlphaTauri, which I did not expect to have to be doing. But anyway, we've got past Esteban Ocon there. And now we're coming down towards turn 1, onto lap 6 we go, and Pierre Gasly is going to get DRS on us. Of course, we should have had DRS there on Sebastian Vettel to defend with this, but I'm an idiot. So Pierre Gasly up the inside there as we go into turn 1, but we do push him towards the curb, and it does allow us to take the more favourable line through there and try and keep him out the way. As just looking down the order, I see Carlos Sainz is still set in P12. It has not been a good run for him so far in the Ferrari. He's been well down the order on multiple occasions now, and it's not been good for him at Ferrari. And this is, of course, their home track. They will be wanting, other than Imola, they will be wanting to perform well here, and they just are not recently. Further up the order, though, Sergio Perez came into the pits. It's not really clear what exactly caused the damage to him. I probably should have checked that when we were doing this race. But he's in the pits. He's now at the back of the field with Max Verstappen and the other person who is
box.
We're sat in P22 as we get the call to come into the pits. It's Fernando Alonso who's right at the back of the field, so he might have been caught up in an incident as well. But we're going to come into the pit lane now, and we appear to be the only ones in at the moment, so early stop for us. It has worked out in the past that if we get a safety car, which is not unheard of, then we may benefit quite a lot from this. But the good question will be, will we get out ahead of Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez? Of course, they're both coming down, I guess, around the Parabolica at this point. Oh, there they are, actually. There's Verstappen. Closed it in pretty quickly at the moment, but he is just a little bit too far back to pose much of a challenge here as we power through turn 1 and shrink into the distance. We rejoin just a little bit later, coming down into the DRS straight. Of course, we're not actually going to have DRS here, not just because I'm an idiot, but because there's new cars in front of us. But Verstappen, DRS up the inside towards the Ascari. Doesn't get the move done. The AI, for some reason, just do not commit to the corner there. Although, maybe it's just because he's just not got a lot of focus at the moment, or his stats aren't good enough, but I'm pretty sure he has been a lot more feisty than that in the races since this. And even in the races before this, he is a pretty aggressive driver anyway. But we come down the pit straight back to Verstappen, and Sergio Perez going to get DRS on us as we leap past a whole bunch of cars. There's Lewis Hamilton coming out of the pit lane, and up ahead there is Pierre Gasly, the little nuisance that he is, as we go around the outside of him now, up the inside into the second part of the chicane. And thankfully, Pierre Gasly, now actually acting as more of a help than a hindrance, blocks Max Verstappen, and I'd much rather be ahead of an AlphaTauri than I would of 2 Red Bulls. So we go on board now. With me, this is the DRS train that was coming out of the pit lane, and now the move on the AlphaTauri round the outside. Came from a long way back there. It's a good job he didn't go up the inside, because otherwise there would have been a massive accident. But here we go. Pierre Gasly still with the DRS behind us on lap 8. Coming down towards lap 9, just over 5 laps to go. Gasly now in a good position to challenge down the straight. We'll be using up all the ERS, probably wondering why the hell we're going so slow every time we're behind another car and should be getting DRS. Of course, if you have played without the DRS assist on, then you know that it does play a beep, but it also plays the same sounding beep once you turn... it plays no sound, sorry, when DRS is switched on. So it was really hard to tell whether or not it was on or not, as we see another train of cars come out the pit lane and just absolutely collide with everybody who was in pursuit of us. Gasly and us we've got through. He's still within DRS range. Max Verstappen, compromised by the Ferrari, gets pushed all the way back there. And now Carlos Sainz is in the way of Perez, Ocon, Hamilton, Tsunoda. Looks as though he's really close to getting past someone right now, according to that leaderboard. And Lance Stroll as well, just within a tenth of Tsunoda. But it looks as though the front runners have started to come into the pits. Our teammate actually was just out of sight there. Joe Guan Yu, he's now up in 4th place. That's a really good result for him and for the team. As Pierre Gasly again trying to get past us, causing us an absolute headache. We've got the Aston Martin of Sebastian Vettel, who by some miracle is still in the top 10 up ahead. Let's go on board now. This was the move. We actually came across much too hard on Pierre Gasly there and clipped his front wing. I don't believe he got damaged though. Let's go on board with him. It was just a friendly nudge as we put a little bit too much squeeze on him. In all honesty, it was questionable whether he was actually going to go round the outside of me there. So after I closed the door on him, I was a little surprised with the contact, and of course locked up because of trying to correct the spin. And unfortunately, it does look as though he did actually take some front wing damage, so he comes into the pits. Now we're chased again by Max Verstappen. Not an ideal place to be right now, and hopefully we'll crash into him as well and make sure that he doesn't score any points, because he do not want a late resurgence from him like we had with Lewis Hamilton at the end of Season 1, as he does look up the inside, a little bit racy into Lesmo 1, coming up to Lesmo 2. He's going to get DRS again. Fortunately, given the fact that last time he tried to go up the inside and failed miserably, we could just pull the same stunt on him again, cover off the outside, or cover off the inside and then just move across on him. That works as well. As they go through Ascari, we've only got 1 lap to go as well, so he's going to have to make this move pretty quickly. And of course, we'll be deploying all of our ERS here just to try and stay ahead of him. Squeeze him right up to the white line there, just allowing enough room for both cars to get through. Close him off through the Parabolica. And it looks as though Lando Norris has just overtaken Charles Leclerc up at the front of the field. That could be a Lando Norris. It could be a McLaren 1-2 for them. As Verstappen goes around the outside into turn 1, we're going to have to defend to the inside. Not where we've been recently. And Verstappen makes the same mistake that we've seen from the AI over several races in the past. Absolutely clouts the sausage curb on the inside of the second part of the chicane. Completely kills off his speed. Nearly crashes into the side of us. And that allows us to get back ahead. Now we've got 1 more DRS zone and then 1 long straight where the slipstream is quite powerful. We've made some overtakes there in the past. Go check out those previous videos on the channel of racing around Monza, and you'll see what I mean. Probably not the Williams ones, though, because they were incredibly slow. But here we go. Max Verstappen with DRS going down towards Ascari. He's going to be looking which way. Who knows? He's just going to sit behind us. Incredible. Max Verstappen thrown away his only opportunity to get past us, and given the fact that we don't have a functioning DRS button, or I should say a functioning brain to turn it on, he's now run out of electrical energy. He's used it all on the DRS straight, and he's just not got the straight line speed to get ahead. We've not crashed into him at the Parabolica like we've seen many times before with some accidents there. We're going to cross the line P6. That is a good result for us. Still at the top of the Drivers' Championship, of course. Valtteri Bottas has missed the leaderboard there down the left-hand side. We'll have to see where he finished, but we are going to extend our lead slightly over him, which is good, with only a few races to go. 5 now, perhaps? Yes, 5. 6 races to go. I know my stuff. Anyway, Daniel Ricciardo wins in Monza, followed by Lando Norris. It's almost like it's echoing certain recent events. I say recent events, of course it was a little while ago now, actually. But still, a McLaren 1-2 at the same circuit that they achieved a McLaren 1-2 in real life. This game does have a habit of replicating or predicting real life events. Of course, if you follow the channel all the way back to Season 1 of the Co-op career, you'll know that Valtteri Bottas won the championship and then instantly moved to Alfa Romeo for no reason at all. And, well, few months later, he was announced as their new driver. Either way, McLaren won too. Let's get on with the final results, see where everyone else finished. And here we are with those final results. Of course, Ferrari actually getting onto the podium, I think, for the first time this season. Then with Charles Leclerc doing a very good job at their home Grand Prix. They were followed by Zhou Guanyu, who makes a massive win for the team there, getting P4. That's 12 points for us. Sebastian Vettel, then ourselves. Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton, and Sergio Perez rounding out the top 10. Over in the Drivers' Championship, we retake the lead of the Drivers' Championship, now just 2 points clear of Valtteri Bottas, and Lewis Hamilton only 10 points behind as well, getting pretty scary now. We're followed by Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen, Daniel Ricciardo, Pierre Gasly, Charles Leclerc, and finally Carlos Sainz rounds out the top 10. Further down the order, Esteban Ocon and Yuki Tsunoda are still tied on 16 points apiece, but Zhou Guanyu catapults himself up to 13th with those 12 points for the race here in Italy. He's followed by Sebastian Vettel, Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso, George Russell, Mick Schumacher, Antonio Giovinazzi, Nicholas Latifi, Nikita Mazepin, and Christian Lundgaard. And finally, over to the constructors for the very bleak outcome of Mercedes, 100 points clear of second place Red Bull, who are in a close battle for second with McLaren. Then followed by Radiant Racing, Ferrari overtake AlphaTauri at last, but only by 3 points. Then Aston Martin, Alpine, Williams, Alfa Romeo, and Haas. That's all for now. We'll catch you in the next one.